We are live. Hello out there and welcome to today's Search Engine Journal webinar. Hope you're having a great day and we're thrilled to have you here with us. I am joined by Victoria Lindsay, Shreyas Kamath, and Jonathan Meyer, all of Bridgeline. Today, we are going to talk to you about ways that you can drive revenue with the right marketing stack. I don't know about you, but when running an e-commerce business, it's easy to fall in the too many tools trap. But those too many tools can end up bogging down your site and making it a little difficult for the best user experience. So optimizing that MarTech stack is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So my name's Heather Campbell, and I'll be your moderator. Victoria, Shreyas, Jonathan, thanks for being with us. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Shreyas Kamath. I'm currently the CTO for Bridgeline. I oversee our product teams. Excited to talk to everyone today about our E360 strategy and helping you guys grow your revenue through that. So we'll be focusing a lot more on our e-commerce 360 strategy, which is about conversions, revenue, and average order value, and so on during the presentation. So excited to be here today. Victoria?
Yes, and I'm Victoria. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Bridgeline, and I feel like as the marketing coordinator, I am here to translate a lot of these sometimes more technical concepts into language that anybody can take and turn into action items. So that's a little bit of what I'm doing here at Bridgeline. And Jonathan.
Yeah, hello. My name is Jonathan Meyer. I'm one of the senior solutions engineers here for the HawkSearch tool powered by Bridgeline. And I'll be doing a little bit later a presentation in the breakout room to help show you kind of, as Shreyas and Victoria walk through all the great features that Bridgeline has on offer for that MarTech stack. I'm going to be showing one of those functionalities in HawkSearch in the breakout demo room later on. So looking forward to that as well.
Jonathan, you stole my thunder, but that's okay. That's all right. So I'm very excited to let everybody.
Myself.
So we're going to go through the presentation. We're just going to skip to this part because I am excited. We'll have a breakout room at the end of the presentation where Jonathan will be to give you a demo. You'll have the ability to pop back and forth, but that is not quite ready just yet. So in the meantime, let me give you some housekeeping tips, and then we're going to get right into this. If you experience any technical difficulties, please use the chat box to let us know. If you have questions for this team, please put them in the Q&A tab. So just take a second to get familiar with those functions in the top right of your screen. We're also going to have a poll. If that doesn't slide out for you, that'll be found under that polls tab as well. So the Q&A has a cool function. If you see a question that you like, you can give it the little thumbs up. And we know that that's important to more than just one of you. And we'll do our best to get that to the team after the presentation. And so there's also closed captioning, and it's that little CC up in that upper right-hand corner too. And so we'll do our best to link to any resources or tools in the chat. But if we miss one, just ask. And all resources will be included in the recap email that you will receive after today's presentation. So one other thing, after the webinar, we do ask if you can stick around for a short survey. It doesn't take more than a minute or two, and it really helps us gauge what works and how we can make SEJ webinars more useful for you. Lastly, I'm going to say it again because it's the question that we get asked the most, but we'll reiterate it later. You will absolutely receive this full recording later today in your inbox, so keep your eyes on that. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Shreyas, Victoria, it's yours. Jonathan, we'll see you in the breakout room.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Heather. And we are very excited to jump in. But before we really get started, we are going to start the whole presentation with, if you do want to head over to that poll tab, the first thing that we would love to hear from listeners today is, if in 2020 did you see in your own company and experience any cut in marketing budget? So if you want to hop over there, and then we'll kind of loop back to that in a little bit. But jumping into our talk today, you're going to see this repeated a couple of times throughout the presentation. And this is sort of our overview, our E360 strategy on how we as marketers can evaluate ourselves and decide if our strategy for increasing revenue is successful. And so we break that down into traffic, conversion, and increasing AOV, so that average order value. So we're really looking for finding the sweet spot between these three categories to increase revenue. So for instance, if you find from your own experience, you have amazing conversion rates, but you're not seeing as much revenue as you think you should, this is an opportunity to start looking at traffic strategies or AOV strategies. So essentially, throughout the talk today, we're going to be breaking down these three categories and giving some more technical approaches for each of them. And again, we are going to have you head over. So we're kind of front loading the poll questions here, but if you can head over to the poll question tab again, I would love to hear from those who are tuning in today, which of these categories you feel like you need to focus on the most. If it's traffic, conversion, or increasing that AOV, that average order value, or getting an increase in ROI for your company. So jumping straight in to, again, our top 5 ways to increase revenue with a clean marketing tech stack. The number one thing that you have to do at the very beginning is really knowing what you have to work with. So before I jump in, Shreyas, because I'm doing the presentation view, I can't see the poll responses. Do you mind just clicking over to that poll tab?
Yep. So 50% of users did say that they had a cut in the marketing budgets in 2020. So that lines up pretty nicely with.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. So we're starting out with this this quote from a Gartner's 2020 marketing tech survey, and from everyone that they surveyed, about 60% did say that they expected a moderate to severe cut in their MarTech budget. So with that in mind, and it does sound like that's pretty spot on with our listeners today, this is, a perfect opportunity to sort of take inventory of where you are when it comes to your revenue strategy as it relates to MarTech. So from here, we're going to look and see, first, does your MarTech stack align with your current business goals? So maybe the time that you invested in that technology, your business goals may have been different. And this is definitely, this could be the case, especially pre and post pandemic. So many business strategies changed over the past couple of years. So especially when there's budget cuts, it's a great time to sort of take inventory of where you are if your business goals have changed. And this is also an opportunity to start looking at if you're utilizing all of the available features of the software and apps and tools that you currently have. You also want to look at how many people in your department or across the company even know how to use these tools. If it's only 1 or 2 people, are you getting the most out of them, out of those tools that you can? And it's a great chance to look at, the tools that you have. When were they added? Are they more legacy technology that has just been around forever? Because when those tools were brought on, your business goals may have been different. So it's a really good chance to sort of reevaluate, if these tools or technology is really meeting the needs that you have at current day. And then the last thing that we want to talk about when we're sort of doing our peek into our MarTech stack is talking about metrics. So, if it's email campaigns, if it's Google Analytics, even, metrics coming from social campaigns, do you get regular reports? So understanding the data that's coming in and telling you, what's going on in these campaigns. Now, the reason that I bring up metrics last is it kind of ties into what we're going to talk about next and, going through our data strategy. But I love this. There's this phrase that it keeps popping up that is data is the new oil. And the idea is, you can't put unrefined crude oil into your car and expect it to run very well. So it's sort of the same thing with data. You can't work with unrefined, clunky data that hasn't been cleaned up and expect your strategy to run very well either. So it's definitely a similar idea. So with that, Shreyas, do you want to walk us through what our data strategy can look like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as Victoria mentioned, you've heard it all over. Data is the new thing. Everyone wants more data. They want to focus on data. Now, as you clean your MarTech stack, I can guarantee you're going to find a lot of tools in the marketing stack. And as you go through those tools, you're going to see different data sets that cover any kind of user metrics, session metrics, and so on. Now, in this, you may also find some discrepancies that you're going to see conversions are at 3% on some tools, 2.5% on some tools. But does that really matter is what we need to focus on. Because really, having all of these statistics is meaningless unless you align them to your business goal. So defining what your business goal is the first key to a successful data strategy. So let's say your business goal is to increase engagement on the site. Now, if you're going to be increasing engagement on the site, session time is a good metric to look at, correct? But if you're not focused on increasing engagement, but you're focused on conversions, and you really want the user to get onto an e-commerce site, add to cart, get to the conversion phase, and check out, really conversion is the metric you're looking for. So you really want to align your data strategy to your business goals. And again, you can slice and dice the data in multiple different ways. You can slice it based on user types. You can slice it based on clicks, conversions. Really just focus on one metric at a time and create like a strategy end to end as you go through this process, and then decide if you want to focus on sessions, clicks, conversions, and so on. One important thing to note: everyone here uses Google Analytics today. And it's important to note that Google Analytics is shifting towards GA4 from Universal Analytics. Universal Analytics will be sunset June 1, 2023, July 1, 2023. So really focus on looking at what you have in Universal Analytics and then start porting that over to GA4 right now, because there are certain differences in how data is going to come through in GA4. So just focus on that, get a head start on that, and be ready for the migration to GA4 in 2023.
Absolutely. I know. I think the closer we get to that sunset time, we're going to be hearing a lot more about that sort of migration strategies involved. So now we have talked a little bit about our data strategy there, and now we need to talk about our traffic strategy. So Shreyas, do you mind looking at that poll tab and seeing if we have any percentage of this group focused on our traffic?
45% of the users here responded saying they're focused on a traffic strategy.
All right. Okay. So that's a decent amount of this group is interested in creating a traffic strategy, which is fantastic. Maybe that means you have, great conversion or solid AOV, but you just want to work on getting more eyeballs on your site, which is great. So really, this is our chance to evaluate our traffic strategy. And when you are building that, I do find it really helpful to break it into some categories here. So time, location, and persona. So what I mean by those is time, meaning, what is the best time to start pushing for a traffic increase to your site, which could be anything from, an ad campaign or really probably an ad campaign or, a social program or an email campaign, something like that. And the reason that you want to consider when is the best time to send people to your site is if you've recently done a big architecture overhaul of the site, or if it's a new site, it does take some time for Google to index your site, for the dust to sort of settle on it. And so you do really want your site to be pretty stabilized before investing in a big push for traffic. So keeping that in mind. Location, so you do want to keep in mind, when people arrive at your site, is the sort of customer journey that you want to take them on a very intuitive one? If you're e-commerce, is it very clear how to find the different products, the different categories? If you're more of a content heavy site, is it clear how to navigate through the different content and really make it as easy as possible for the person visiting? And then also persona, really wanting to understand who your ideal customer or client is arriving at your site. Understanding the language that they would feel comfortable using. If it's a very technical language or if it's a more generalist language, whatever you feel like your ideal person is arriving at your site, making sure the language that you're using is something they're just incredibly comfortable with. They want to feel at home when they're arriving at that site. So when you figure out the right time, the right location, and the ideal persona, you can go ahead and talk about, we're going to talk about some of the more technical aspects of the traffic strategy. So Shreyas, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk through some of these.
Yep. So really, when you're organizing your traffic strategy, you really want to understand the difference between off-page SEO and on-page SEO. Think about off-page SEO is how high you can rank in organic search results, and think about on-page SEO is what you rank for. Because let's say you're thinking about off-page SEO, you want to get traffic to your site. What are the different ways you can do that? You can do that through backlinks. You can have influencers talk to you about promoting content on your website. You can also do paid ad campaigns. So there are different ways. Now, there's less you control with the off-page SEO strategy because you're relying on word of mouth. You're relying on a lot of things to get traffic into your website. But there's a lot of tools available in this MarTech space. You have backlink tools. You have tools for promoting on different blogs. So there's a lot of tools that are available out there that you want to analyze and consider for the off-page SEO, so on. For the on-page SEO, you're really looking at content on your site. You're focusing on how content is laid on your site. Is that appealing to the personas that you're talking to? Are your images designed the right way? Is your content reference the topic, like the heading reference the topic you're writing about? So all of the on-page elements like heading, meta descriptions, the content itself are important when you think about on-page SEO. And really, this is what will drive more of the organic to your site, and you really control this as a marketer. Because if you're creating pages for specific content, make sure that the descriptions, keywords, etc., that you use on this link to that content. So it's a very useful page for a user or a persona that lands on it. Beyond that, you can there are tools that are available in the MarTech space for this. There are content optimization tools available. There are on-page SEO tools available that can analyze your site and tell you what your page scores are, where you fall short, and so on. Technical SEO goes more into more of the optimization sides of your website. So as you all know, Google introduced Core Web Vitals last year, and a lot of Core Web Vitals strategies around how easy it is for the user to interact with your page. Is your page fast to load? Is there a lot of shaking activity when you are on the page? So really, it's important for you when you're designing your site or designing new landing pages to think about how that UX looks on your site. A lot of search engines are now focusing on the UX and ease of usability. So making sure that your website is optimized, it loads fast, there's not too much bulky technology, JavaScript on the page that's going to slow it down, ensuring that you're secure on your websites, using the latest cryptography protocols is extremely important as well, because search engines will rank you for that. And again, at the end of the day, though, it all comes down to content. Even if you technically make your site sound, if the content that you write is not relating to the user page that you're targeting or what you're promoting for your website, it doesn't really help your traffic strategy. So content and making sure that the content is optimized for your personas is really the big key takeaway on your traffic strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, once we have our traffic strategy here, then we get to talk about what to do with that traffic when it actually arrives at your site. So Shreyas, do you mind looking over at that poll tab and seeing what percentage of our group here wants to focus on conversion for
55%.
their 55?
Yep. We have a zero on AOV. So
all right. Well, now we know. Although I will be talking a lot about AOV and why it's so exciting, but that's fine. That's so interesting. Okay, so conversion, and actually before I get into a spiel about conversion, I do want to mention here a lot of the strategies we will be talking about in the conversion section and in the AOV will be, you'll get to see it in action during Jonathan's demo. So he'll be demoing HawkSearch, which is one of Bridgeline's products, and you'll really get to see even a lot of the examples that we have here on the screen are pulled from a lot of what we do with HawkSearch. So it's sort of fun to actually see it all in action, because as exciting as it is hearing Shreyas and I talk about it in theory, actually seeing a demo of it sometimes makes it more real. So anyway, so this is, again, we have our traffic strategy sort of laid out. And I think, understanding the off-page, on-page SEO, technical SEO and content is really helpful to get the push to your website. And now this is your chance to really engage with your visitors. So a couple of things you want to start thinking about is how the visitors interact with your site. Are they clicking on the marketing banners? Are they using a search bar? If you have a search bar, and how is that search doing? And also this is a chance to look at things like, do you have a live chat and how that is performing? And so we're going to go through, and even on screen right now, this is like a great example of, an autofill and how that could kind of start engaging with the visitor on your site. So I'm going to have Shreyas again talk through a couple more strategies here for conversions.
Yep. Yeah, again, as with any website, you want to really focus on how to get the user faster to the goal that you're trying to accomplish on the site. So as an e-commerce site, you want to get them to add to cart, check out fast. If you're a content site that's trying to get more thought leadership out there, you want to have them focus on reading those articles, ensuring that they click through and spend more time on your site. So really, to boost conversions, but whatever your goal is, everyone's used to nowadays on searching on your, all of us start our day of browsing with Googling stuff. So we really want to focus on site search, because when users come to your site, they are expecting a good site search experience, because they want to find those things quickly. So if you have a solid site search tool that allows you to generate an autocomplete as soon as a user starts typing into the box, recommend certain categories that you can view for those results, and then takes you to the search results page if you don't want to see the autocomplete, but instead dive deeper, and on the search results page has a good filtering and sorting experience. So ideally, the goal is to get to the search result I want faster. So if I'm searching for shoes and I really want to focus on getting the right pair of shoes, I'm probably going to use the price filter to focus on my pricing metric. I'm going to use the color filter to get the right size. So having a good search page with that filtering experience as well as the sorting experience is really a good key to boosting conversions. Now, let's say I'm not a searcher. I don't know what I want. I came to the site and I'm more of a browser. I'm just going to browse around. What can you employ to boost conversions in this space? At the time, you have your homepage is a great example of a page that they're going to land on. Can you do something on the homepage with engaging content? You can build pieces of content on the homepage that allow users to get hooked in, see some additional information, categories, and use some nice banners. Build those landing pages the right way, so you could have subsequent category pages. Let's say I'm a party supplies shop and I have a lot of party supplies I'm selling. As a browser, you want to get the user to a page that lists all of your categories of party supplies. It allows you to dissect that data in different ways, whether by price, by occasion, theme, and so on. So you really want to focus on building your landing page using some tools that allow you to give that same filtering and filtering experience that you have on the search, but also generate great content on these pages, because really landing pages are supposed to be more informational for decision making for these browsers. Now, shifting gears a little bit, you have banners and marketing ads throughout your website, right? You want to make sure that the users are clicking, engaging with your banners. Make sure that the banners are personalized and they are relatable to the user. That's a great conversion strategy, because if I'm looking for shoes, like I mentioned, and then I come back and I see a banner saying, oh, I have 50% off on Columbia on a particular brand, it entices me to purchase more easily on the site. So focusing on the banners and marketing and getting the right metrics out of them is also an important feature of your tech stack that you should be looking into. Now, another big piece is email marketing. Emails kind of fallen is no longer the more attractive option. Everyone talks about social, but email's still a big piece of your marketing channel. Social, it really complements your social. It really complements a bunch of the tools that you have in your MarTech stack, because you have information about the users. You have what their choices are. If you can send them the right emails at the right time with the right content, they are more likely to purchase from your site. So really having a good email marketing tool and strategy in place really helps you. Obviously, you want to make sure you honor all of the privacy concerns as you're going through the personalization phase. And you want to make sure that you have good opt-out strategies, etc., in place for people that want to opt out of campaigns. Because all of this goes towards building trust on your website, and that's really important for users today. Now, A/B testing is not really a strategy or a tool that you can, but it's really important because it allows you to maximize the ROI on your limited real estate on the website. Because with A/B testing, you can test features one at a time. So let's say you implement a new banner and you want to test two versions of the banner. It's a good way to kind of test and see which one performs better. Have a goal saying that the clicks or conversion saying this banner converted better, and make that the final version. Now, keep in mind as you're A/B testing, you want to focus on the one test at a time. Mixing too many tests together can murky up your results. So you really want to have clean attribution on how you're designing these tests and what you're doing on the site at the same time. And again, don't forget the whole experience and how it looks for repeat users versus new users. With new users, you're trying to still understand what they are looking from your site. With repeat users, you have some information about them. So leverage that and use that to improve their experience so they can purchase faster on your site.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the new versus repeat user strategy. Like, just to put it in like real world terms, just thinking about if you have your favorite coffee shop that you go to several times a week, everyone there should know you. You get the same thing every time. It's such a better experience to walk in there and be recognized, to not, if people know that you're only there for black coffee, you never get anything else. Like, just don't try and upsell these products that they're not interested in. Just like focus on what we know that you're interested in. And I love, at least for my own favorite coffee shops, the ones that know that, like, oh, I'll buy whole beans every once in a while. And so they'll mention if they get new kinds in, or they'll mention if they have a sale or something like that, versus, pushing products on me that I would never be interested in based off of my purchase history. So that sort of approach of, when you go into a place for the first time, it's such a different approach versus some place that you're in all the time. And so that can, really affect the strategy, in real world terms. But that does bring us to, now I'm going to make a case for why everyone should care about AOV. So just to check, Shreyas, do you mind double checking to see if anyone has added?
No,
into
0%.
No one? 0% of you know how fantastic increasing AOV is as a strategy for increasing your revenue. Okay, so here's me making a case for it. So far, we have built up a traffic strategy and a conversion strategy. And so the reason that there is this beautiful frosting happening on the screen right now is because those two pieces, traffic and conversion, I like to think of it as sort of the cake, and AOV is the frosting. So yes, technically cake is fine without frosting, but it's so much better when it has frosting. So the reason that we're talking about it now is essentially you already have your traffic, you already have the person who's added things into the cart, and this is really your opportunity to start creating brand loyalty and to start introducing other options to someone who's already indicated that they're interested. So to go back to my coffee shop analogy, I'm already in the shop. They know that I'm purchasing a cup of coffee, and now this is their chance to say, like, hey, we have these whole beans if you want to get, to go from a $2 purchase to a $22 purchase. That is already something that is in the wheelhouse. I'm already buying the coffee. Maybe I want to make this coffee at home. So it's essentially, showing that we're interested in what you have and how we can create more value for you as a consumer. So to jump into some of those specific strategies, Shreyas, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I mean, Victoria made a great point here, right? Like as she's buying coffee, she's probably interested in some additional things. Similarly, on your website, when users add certain things to cart or they have purchased certain things from you in the past, you know what's in their cart. So you want to promote accessories or things that can complete the package for them in that same way. So using a strong recommendations tool in your marketing stack is really helpful because you can cross-sell and upsell the user very easily into those tools. So for example, if I'm buying bottles here, as you can see from my screen, suggesting accessories or caps for those bottles, or additionally maybe labels, or buying a set of 10 bottles at the same time just because it's cheaper and we know the shelf life of these bottles, it's easier. So really focus on your upsell, cross-sell SaaS strategy, and ensure that, again, when you bring up recommendations, make sure they are not random recommendations. They mean something to the user that they are more likely to purchase, and and you can curate why exactly those recommendations are coming up. So really focus on building a strong recommendation strategy. You want it to be personalized, but you also want to have some control because you know your products well, so you know what sells with together. So use that knowledge, use what the user has, and build a strong cross-sell strategy or upsell strategy. Now, another distinction is a lot of B2B versus B2C users, they behave differently. A lot of B2B users or they reorder the same things over and over again. So you are used to seeing reorder pads on all B2B sites where you can go in, you can repeat your order that you bought last and replenish the order really easily. So it's a one-stop, one-click experience to just repeat the order. Translate that to some of your B2C sites, see what more you can do for returning users. Maybe like if everyone shops at Amazon, you know that you buy batteries from Amazon. On the right, Amazon puts a quick note that talks about, hey, in order to, if you want to interested in refilling these batteries at a certain time, you can do that. And then they also give you the option to renew that at a certain date on a monthly basis and so on. So suggesting things like this that can make the user experience more easier, that's one less thing I have to worry about to reorder, is a great tool to kind of promote and get additional revenue on your site.
100%. Just to jump on that, the same idea. B2B has this sort of built in pretty commonly with the repeat order button, but even thinking about. My husband and I go to, there's like a local burrito place, and they built in their app repeat this order. So we have like an insanely customized, very specific burrito order of all of the exact, ingredients we want in it. It takes 5 minutes to set that up and place that order. But now every time we log back into the app, all we have to do is say repeat order. And, all of the time that I could mentally take to talk myself out of ordering takeout yet again, all of that time is taken away because all I have to do is hit a button and I have my burrito. So anyway, that is just like a little bit more of a B2C scenario as well, of creating these, just an ease for the customer to utilize this.
Yep, no, that's a great point. I mean, the more you can easily get customers to buy, the better for you, the better for them, because it's an easy experience. They don't have to focus too much. Again, there are other strategies too. You know these users, you know their shopping carts. So in order to increase your ROI, you can deploy other channels that you can use to kind of promote more products to them. So email is a great way again, as everyone gives an email when you send out an order confirmation. Based on preferences, you can ask what kind of emails they're interested in, but then you can send them recommendations inside of emails that let them know, hey, these are new items that just came in store. If you determine that the user buys a certain frequency, send them discount coupons for those durations and say, hey, if you buy it within the next 30 days, we're going to give you 50% off. and personalize those coupons. And as you send those out and send those emails, really your focus should be on building customer loyalty. Like Victoria mentioned, she loves this burrito place because it makes it easy for her to order, because they take care of her needs, they know that she's going to repeat her order once or twice a week, so let's make it easy for her. So you got to focus with that mentality and build a loyal customer base that really wants to look at you as a trusted advisor. They're going to look at you as more of, hey, this site knows what I really want and it really understands my preferences. Now, one common misconception in recommendations is it's always you should show products. That's really not the case, because a lot of people are now doing guided shopping. They focus on improving their experience and understanding more about a product. So they want to read up about what this product does. So any informational content that you can also recommend as users are browsing the website is also important. So just don't focus on being upselling directly and being that person, that salesperson in the store that everyone wants to run away from. You really want to make it a guided experience where the users feel that they will trust you because you're giving them information relevant to this product. So focus on building that customer loyalty.
100%. Yeah, I think one of my favorite features that I've seen pop up on a few e-commerce sites is getting to see user uploaded examples of how they've used that product in their life. It's so like a game changer to see, oh, rather than just buy these curtains and hope that they look the way they look in the pictures, I can just click on a photo that some other user has uploaded and see what those curtains look like in their house. When it's not staged, it's just a photo taken with their cell phone. You know, that's a perfect example of if I see that pop up, especially if I'm in the cart view and I can see like, oh, well, you know, 8 of these people have uploaded and love these curtains, like they're probably pretty okay. They're not showing damage to the product or they don't have any negative reviews that seem like red flags. So that's like a huge way to build, you know, again, that sort of customer loyalty and brand trust that you really want to get.
Yep. And then we've thrown a lot of information at you, right? We've talked about the marketing stack. We've talked about all these strategies. What do you take away from here? You really need some sort of a quick dashboard where you can really analyze and focus on the key metrics that you need. As I mentioned at the start, when you have a good data strategy that's aligned to your business goals, it's very easy to operate and do things. So have a way to have a glance your key metrics very easily, whether it's focusing on the conversion rate, whether it's focusing on the click rate view. Have a very easy way at a glance way to see this. Make sure you summarize and keep up to date on your marketing stack. Keep up to date on those tools. Once you've done all the hard work of figuring out what you have in there, really focus and hone in the message on as you add more things or as you remove things, keep that updated so you know what tools you're using for what. There's a lot of apps out in the market. You really need some guided assistance on those. So feel free to trust what is in the industry, use our dashboard to your advantage and kind of take that and take the guided knowledge from there. Again, as with anything, Rome was not built in a day, so you're not going to be able to do and fix every problem on your site in a day. So there is a lot of rinse and repeat that's going to happen. You're going to come up with goals. You're going to be building using technology. Some of those are going to work great right out of the box. Some of those you may have to massage, tweak, and keep iterating until you get to the point where it's matched your business goal. So really keep focusing on those technologies, focusing on those metrics, and improving the experience for users on your site, because that's what's going to drive conversion in the end.
100%. And what we have showing here on the screen is it's an example of a dashboard that's one of the Bridgeline products. That's E360, and that's sort of that traffic conversion AOV overview that we talked about throughout. So if you are interested in the PDF that we have available at the end of this talk, included in there is a link to sign up for a demo if you want to check out the E360 product. That is, this is just like a dashboard view of that as well. And I think with that, we have concluded. So I think from here, let's see. Heather, are we hopping over to Q&A and to Jonathan?
Yep. Okay. So you should all just have gotten a pop-up that says join a breakout room. So you can click the join button at the bottom to pop over to that demo room, or you just click the X in the top and it'll close for you and you can stay here for the Q&A with us. It's all up to you. So once you get to the breakout room, up in the right-hand corner, there is a button that will send you back to the main room. So if you look now, you could hit that button and head to the breakout room. Once you're in there, if you do want to come back here, you can. So, all right. So Jonathan is over there. And I'll tell you, it's been a bit of a quiet gang today. So we haven't had a lot of questions. And that's okay, because we've got plenty of things to talk about. So let's get into it. So one of the things that you brought up is upselling, for future improvement. So what are some of your recommendations for using upsell to improve future conversions?
So I would say having a great recommendations tool that can kind of remember your order history and promote products. And again, don't focus on one strategy when you're upselling, because you should always apply a mix, because a lot of strategies out there today are talk about also bought or also added to cart, right? So if a person that bought product A is more likely to buy product B, but there are other trending items on the site that may be helpful for the user, not just because of the relationship. There are other products where you may want to sell those because those are you have more of those in stock and that's easy to get to the user. So when you deploy your recommendation strategy, do a mix and match of the things. Don't focus on doing one strategy at a time, because you'll probably have a better luck when you show a mix of products to the user as well.
Yeah, I would say just from my own personal experience with upselling, if the goal is to, I'll use from my own, like an actual experience that I'm having right now. I'm in the process of buying a dishwasher. And anytime I'm online shopping, it is a long experience of research and reviews and looking on different websites and, like consumer reports, and like it's such a complicated thing for me to buy a large appliance. And so, I'll have something sitting in my cart for weeks, essentially. And if I'm in that cart view and I have other recommendations that are popping up, some of them might be more expensive, but if I can see, these are much more highly rated, like one key, just again, using dishwashers, one key metric that I keep noticing popping up again is the decibel levels. I didn't even consider decibel levels when I was originally buying this dishwasher, but they all keep mentioning that. And so now I'm going down a new rabbit hole of like, I was going to buy this, $500 dishwasher, but I'm noticing that this $700 one is much more highly rated, has a way lower decibel level. And had that not been introduced to me when I was in the cart view, or had I not been sent a marketing email saying, hey, we've noticed that you have some things sitting in your cart. Here are a couple other products that you may want to consider. Things like that, sort of consistent communication, letting me know that this company is interested in my business, but also making this maybe not just a one-stop shop, but like, can I consider some other products, also other accessories that go along with it? And then that kind of gets into cross-selling. If you're interested in a dishwasher, what else do you need? Things like that.
That's a great point, because when we think about recommendations, we think about only the carousels underneath the product, but really comparing multiple products where you can see, Victoria's buying a dishwasher, but there are other dishwashers that may fit her need, and allowing her to compare those products very easily on the site, whether it's by decibel level, price. That's also a great way to kind of try to upsell more into maybe a higher price dishwasher.
Yeah, and it's not even just that, you want them to get the higher price dishwasher per se, but it might fit their needs a lot more. And like, it did not even cross my mind to look up decibel levels. So I'm, super grateful that popped up in their recommendations layout, that because of their experience with people, asking about decibel levels, that popped up in one of the top about this product bullet points. So it's like, oh, that's making it a better experience for me as a consumer, and it's a win for the people supplying the dishwasher because they are making a much bigger sale. So it's kind of a win-win. Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought about that either. I don't think about it until mine's running and it's too loud.
I know.
Right. And I just wanted to point out, Victoria, because we did just kind of jump into the Q&A, but Jonathan was very curious if you were hungry during your session, because all you were talking about is food and burritos and cakes and coffees.
Yeah, food and coffee. They are regular topics for me to use examples. But look at me talking about dishwashers here.
Yeah, but then that's what you need to clean up the food with. So it's all full circle.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious. So, looking back through the deck, we're looking at the marketing stack. We're just getting started. Okay. We've got too many tools. What all departments or, people do you need to bring into this when you're looking, whether you're doing an audit, and then, when it comes time to actually start vetting the technology you need, like what departments do you need to bring into these conversations?
Sure. I mean, it starts with a marketing team that's evaluating it. And again, marketing team can have different aspects, right? You can have the search engine optimization team. You can have the team that does the campaign management. But in addition to that, involving your technology team or the research R&D team on your side that understands how your website's laid out, what's feasible, what's not feasible. So having that conversation with the technical R&D team is important. You also want to talk to your finance team, obviously, with the budgeting side of it, because you may have, as we've heard, 60% budgets were slashed. So knowing what fits in your budget, what gives you more ROI for your budget, talk through that. And yeah, just kind of also make sure you're communicating end to end in an organization, because we've seen a lot of examples where there are tools repeat across teams. Like I was saying, a search engine optimization team will have a tool that's also there's another department that's just handling the coupons on the website, and they use a similar tool, but it's a completely separate tool. So just aligning across all the departments that kind of contribute towards conversion rates on the site is an extremely important process, like seeing everything end to end.
Absolutely. And just jumping on that same idea of, the different departments that use different systems. I mean, I think a great example is you would think that these two departments, the sales department and a marketing department, would have really similar goals, but a lot of times those two departments use different systems. So, as a marketing department, we might be hoping to get leads, so people who are interested in our product, and then hand them over to sales. But the sales team might have a very different comfortability with the technology, and they might be using it completely different than a marketing person would ever even anticipate using. So really, I would say I would throw in a sales department in that mix to make sure, understanding how everyone is using this technology, and even me understanding as a marketer what a salesperson, how they approach things like email communication and handling those potential leads. That's really helpful for me as a marketer as well. Understanding, do our metrics really align, and how we can sort of optimize between those two departments, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's great. I always found the sales team to be helpful, especially when it came to like suggesting and upselling and cross-selling. I find them to be really helpful then. So maybe not so much like in the back end of the functionality, but rather like, what do they suggest, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me flip back to, okay. So what about recommendations for tracking and using maybe like landing page data? So, complementary to e-commerce, not product specific, but if they're using landing pages for something.
So they're using landing page. Do you mean like category pages where your product's laid out with a mix of content, or just banners?
Yeah, let's take category pages.
Okay. So a good category page is essentially, let's say you have, as I was mentioning, party supplies, right? So it's such a broad category. When somebody lands on that page, just starting to show all of the products in that page to the user is really not a good way, because they may get overwhelmed with the number of options they have. So instead, let's break down the party supplies page by theme or occasion. Hey, are you looking for a birthday party? You're looking for a graduation party? You're looking for just kind of breaking it down that way so they can shop better by occasion or theme. And then maybe showing the top selling recommendations inside of those. It's because you're looking at a browser here, so focusing on more the trending items from these categories. So let's say, hey, it's graduation season right now, so showing a lot of the graduation trending items on the top, because most likely people are coming back to your site to buy graduation items. That works. That's a good strategy to employ. And then really understanding some of the user base. So for example, let's say you're a sporting shop that's selling hockey sticks. Now hockey sticks vary by divisions, right? You have the youth, senior, junior. Let's say you have a category page that talks about that, but they've already made a selection saying they are looking for youth hockey sticks. Using that context on your landing pages or category pages, and then refining the results to make sure more of the youth hockey sticks come to the top versus seeing the senior or other hockey sticks on top. Just using that context on the landing page makes the landing page more efficient because you're honoring the user selections that they have done so far. So they're more likely to see the products they're interested in and convert from there.
And I just put up on the screen just the one example that probably fits the closest with category pages is, showing that sort of autofill that can, not autofill, I am blanking on the term, but you can auto-populating the different category suggestions there, and those different categories can live on the side. It could be popped up, when they're actually searching, and then being able to actually show the recommended products there. If it's a party, showing a birthday hat or a balloon, or, Trey's had a great example of, if they're graduating, what are just some, based off of other customer, customers who bought this product also bought X, Y, or Z, and having that, front and center.
Perfect. So one of the questions from Terry is, how much influence does conversion rate optimization efforts have on your AOV, your average order value?
Yeah, that's a good one. It does have a significant impact because as you are designing your website, you're changing things up, making the add to cart buttons more prominent, or you're changing how the look and feel of the item detail pages. You can entice them and do a similar sort of optimization on the recommendation side as well. It will allow you to kind of use the same knowledge that you took away from your cart pages or from your item detail pages on these quick ad pages and increase your AOV. So for example, let's say I was, as I keep coming back to the bottle example because it's a unique one. I'm looking at a bottle without a cap, right? And as I'm looking at a bottle without a cap, I know I'm going to need a cap for that bottle. So as you're optimizing your site and looking at, make sure that you show the accessories next to the bottles in an easy way where user can purchase it as a bundle. And just designing that way works great, and it's going to increase your average order value.
Yeah, 100%. And even just going back to, building your conversion strategies, if you're taking into account all of the, banners and marketing, email marketing, A/B testing, search and landing pages, if you're focusing on optimizing all of those different categories, and you're, if you've honed in on your traffic strategy, so the right person is coming to your site at the right time, you have it laid out in an intuitive way, it can only help the AOV. Yeah, 100%. I can say I am buying a more expensive dishwasher.
She just talked herself into it.
I know.
And we're done for the day. Okay. Question from Abed is, what's the best way based in your experience to make users a valuable returning user?
So I think there's a couple of different strategies there, right? You know the user, you know their persona, you know what they bought from you. So you have to take all of these cues and then kind of promote some content, as I said. A lot of times it's not about just pushing products in their face. It's also about pushing more content or more updates about that product in there. Like, hey, you purchased this product from us. Here's the warranty for the product, what it looks like, just so you know. Additionally, we have these services that we can offer for, let's say, the dishwasher, sticking with that, installation services we can offer, and so on. Or hey, if you sign up with an insurance plan with us. So these are all value adds you can offer because you purchased that dishwasher. So understanding that and understanding what services go hand in hand with that and some content that goes hand in hand will help your site be a valuable experience for the users.
Yeah, and I think answering that question, it's always helpful to look at uh, the first thing I like to ask myself is what brands am I most loyal to and how did I get there? So things like, just to use the curtain example, if I'm working with, if I'm looking to purchase something and there are no examples of what this product looks like out in the world, I'm going to be a little bit like, there's no reviews, there's no user photos, there's no, like, it does create a little bit of hesitancy versus a company that has so much transparency that they'd love for you to share your user photos, of this product, or to loop in Yelp reviews, or to loop in, just to let you as a consumer have as much visibility to the quality and experience of that product as possible. So I know that for me, whenever I'm trying to think about how to have a strong customer loyalty strategy, the first thing I do is think of what things I'm loyal to and what that brand did right to get me there. And sometimes it's loyalty programs. I can 100% say I buy more Starbucks, and this is again me talking about my slight coffee addiction, but I 100% have bought more coffee because I downloaded the Starbucks app, and they're constantly showing me marketing that's specific to my purchasing habits. And they let me very easily opt out of things that I am not interested in. So I'm able to really customize the amount of communication, and also there's surveys that pop up. They're kind of very low key checking in with how much I want, and what kind of content I'm interested in. And it's very responsive. So I will say, like, I have an embarrassing amount of brand loyalty to this coffee product.
I do with coffee.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we got one more question. Let's see if we can get this in. I think we got time. So Adita is asking, can you share any quick UX improvement that is generally missed or neglected, but can quickly be implemented and start showing results instantly? Also, thank you for this webinar. But yeah, so looking for UX improvements, low-hanging fruit, right? Like, what might we be overlooking?
I think really having a simple, clean UI, essentially, and as I was mentioning earlier, like if you have a search bar on the site, not having an autocomplete that goes with the search bar. So as users are starting to type in, quickly seeing the results, that's a big, quick UI improvement. Again, these scripts are not very hard to install. All you need is to make sure that you can quickly get an autocomplete on the site. That's a pretty quick UI change that you can make to make your search pretty great. In addition, the compare button I was talking about earlier, like if you have a product site, if your site sells products that are comparable, getting the users to easily compare the two and make a purchase decision faster and enabling them to do that would be, I think, the two quick UI experiences I can think of right now.
Yeah, I would second that with the search bar, because even if you have a beautifully designed navigation menu, which I'm all about, if you're a quick searcher, like if you're getting to a site, kind of what you need to look for, you're not going to start clicking into like, oh, is this couches or armoires, or, like you need to like figure out what category of furniture or where would it live? Is it living room? I don't know. All I'm going to do is go to the search bar and just type in exactly what I want to find. And especially if it starts autofilling or suggesting categories, like you've instantly made my life so much easier. So I would say search bar is like the low hanging fruit for sure.
Which is also helpful for somebody who's coming that might not know exactly what they need, but they know the roundabout, and they just start to, and then it populates for them. So I think that's a great point. So yeah, I think that's what we have. Let me see if there's another one popped in there. No, I think we're good. So with that, I would say we're almost at time and give you guys a big thanks. But, what would you like to leave everybody with? What is like one key takeaway?
From my side, I'm going to say I think I hammered on this pretty quick throughout. Content is the king. So if you have a website and you're building traffic, having great content is the best way to get organic traffic running to your site.
And I'm going to say, look at that AOV. I mean, I just talked myself into paying $200 more for a dishwasher. Essentially, you already have the traffic, you already have user intent being shown, and really don't lose out on an opportunity to create brand loyalty by increasing AOV with recommendations. There's so many strategies to get more value in that shopping cart and value for the consumer. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Awesome. Between the two of them, better content and, making sure you're giving them what they want to increase that average order value, you guys are a great team. Perfect. All right. Well, with that, tell the people where to find you.
You can find me at skamath@bridgeline.com. You can see our products on bridgeline.com site, as well as our sister brands, hawksearch.com, woorang.com, and so on.
Yes, I would say bridgeline.com at least is the home to all of the different products that Bridgeline has, including HawkSearch, that for those of you who did get to see Jonathan's demo there, the Bridgeline product page features that as well.
Perfect. Victoria, Shreyas, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Jonathan, for being in the background in our demo room. Hope everybody had a great webinar today. Stick around for that survey, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.